Brightest blessings, everyone. And I'm actually doing a video response to Pixelated Death. I saw a video of hers entitled, I'm Not Good Enough. So I had to watch it. And basically, she was going on about she feels that she's not good enough to be a Christian, or that was the reason why she couldn't be a Christian, because simply she wasn't good enough. I'm going to link her video. I'm going to try to do a response video, so it should link it there. If not, I'll also have it over there on the sidebar. But she's right. In the Bible, you are not good enough to be a Christian. I'm not good enough to be a Christian. Christians aren't good enough to be a Christian. I have never seen a group of such self-loathing people in my life. And I find that kind of sad. I don't think that it's God that hates his creation with such a passion. I mean, why would someone who's so omnipotent, who's so perfect, create such a piece of shit? And even if it was created by mistake, don't you think that if he or she or whatever it is hated us so much that he could just take us like a piece of paper and start all over again? So the fact that the Bible itself has so many contradictions, I can't even count them on one hand, is part of the reason why I'm not a Christian. I myself grew up as a Christian, as I suspect you did. To my subscribers, Pixelated Death is an atheist. And it kind of sounds like you did start off as a Christian. And like me, you didn't get any answers, or any answers that really sounded like they were worth a damn. And I'm sorry about that. The thing is that it's kind of impossible to get answers from a book that contradicts itself constantly. They can't even... But when you have Christians bickering amongst each other, back and forth going, well, if you don't believe like I believe, then you're a false Christian. And that's sad. And it's pathetic. And yeah, they can't even agree amongst themselves if Jesus Christ was the Son of God or God himself incarnate. So yeah, until you can fix those two arguments, don't even call me. Also, the Bible, from what I've seen, or Christianity in general, from what I've seen, preaches ignorance. It preaches that you stick your head in the sand and only take it on my word, because I said so. I'm sorry, but that's not an effective parenting tool for children. It's certainly not an effective tool for a religion. Why? Because I said so. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Also, in the Bible, Christianity does not encourage you to stop and think. It does not encourage you to study. It does not encourage intelligence of any type. If you have a question, it does not encourage science. It does not encourage anything that shows any sort of type of thinking for yourself, which is bad. I mean, isn't that supposed to be one of the signs of a cult? And, it doesn't have to be a brand new faith to be a cult, really. I think any faith that does not encourage you to stop and think and ask questions is really a cult. And that's one of my biggest problems with Christianity. Now, you ask in your video if you've always been an atheist because you weren't good enough to believe, because you weren't smart enough. You didn't feel the power of God because you weren't smart enough. That's bullshit. I happen to be not an atheist because I think I've had a connection with deity. I've had experience with deity, and that's something that's very personal. Not everyone who claims to be a pagan, not everyone who claims to be a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew has actually had that experience. I consider myself very lucky, and I think it's a very rare experience. And I think because I've had that experience with deity, that is why I myself am not an atheist or an agnostic. You can't see air, and depending on where you are, you can't smell air either. I mean, if you smell it, it's pollution. But if you breathe, you're breathing in air. Most people who do not have some sort of a scientific mind that question things are not even going to realize that air even exists. It's invisible, doesn't taste like anything, doesn't smell like anything, but yet you're breathing it. If I was smoking a cigarette, the smoke would linger in it. It would float in the air. I don't think that you were an atheist from way back then, because I can see that you were tearing up in the video. That you were honestly hurt. And honestly, I don't blame you. I don't know. Maybe you are an atheist at heart. Everybody has their own path, and atheism just may be your path. But I don't think so. Maybe you should check into some other faiths that are different from other Judaic Christian faiths. Anyway, what's the worst that you could lose? Time? You could never be too educated. Blessed be.